I just feel like this could be better. Right, so if you're going to put your game on Steam, there are a few things to consider. The first is whether this is a good idea or not. It might be, depending on your game, but it is hard work. The second is assets and artwork and things like that. And the third is a bunch of weird legal stuff that nobody understands. So let's tackle each of those in turn. If you have a good game, put it on Steam.
But you're not making it easy.
So yeah, assets. You're going to need stuff to put here, which probably means a trailer and screenshots. Now, Steam has a terribly designed webpage that shows you all of the assets that you're going to need in the different dimensions. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is go to that page, try and work it out. And then what you'll do is you'll make a bunch of different key art sizes, and you'll only use some of them. And I don't know which ones you do and don't use. I know that I spent a lot of time making about 15 different things, and I used about 5 in the end. So I spent quite a long time making those assets, but I spent an even longer amount of time making a trailer. Now, I wouldn't call this a trailer as much as I would call it the intro to the game. It is the opening cutscene, except for one minor change, which you won't even notice when it actually goes in the game. The reason for that, though, is that the whole game will have voice actors. And currently I only have that trailer voice acted. So instead of making a trailer that shows more of the game, I figured let's just like go with this this big intro cinematic as a kind of means to show the level of polish that I am aiming for, I suppose. In the last video I kind of detailed the process behind making that trailer, but suffice it to say, it took a really long time. So those are the assets: a trailer with voices and music and stuff like that, screenshots, and key art in about 15 million different dimensions and sizes, some of which are really weirdly small, and Steam has like a very particular guidance on you need to make it like really like diddly small but also legible with the title. You might have to muck around with that. Anyway, you have those assets, you put them in a box, and you then wait for the next bit. So you might not need to do this, but I am in a weird situation where I am self-employed as a freelancer, and you know, ideally I'd like this game to make money. And in the UK, what you can do is you can be a sole trader, which is what I am, and then you can also have a limited company. So for the purposes of this game, I have set up a limited company under my studio name, which is Bunkworks. And so the process for that was complicated because not only do you need to like set up obviously a website and things like that, but you need to register it with Companies House in the UK, and then you need to muck about with tax stuff that is explicitly designed to be very confusing. But anyway, I went through that rigmarole of setting up a company, registering the company. I tried to set up a business bank account for that company, and that got denied for some reason. So I went to a different provider and set up a business to that bank with that bank, and I set up a tax gateway. So I went to a different kind of stuff. Basically, it's just so that I can have my income as a freelancer separate to my income from the game. Man, that's boring. I don't even know why I'm saying this. And just if you're in the UK, you might want to do the same thing, and it's not fun. And there's more stuff about tax that we'll come back to later. What I find quite funny is that when you go to Google and you search how to set up a Steam page, you would think that Steam would rank quite highly for that and have a page laid out for you, but they don't. Instead, you are relying on YouTube tutorials, of which this is categorically not one. I recommend watching this video or any of these videos and just following the steps there. Anyway, my process was I set up a new Steam account, but when you go through and then you make an account, the first thing you're going to need to do is pay $100 dues, and that is to become kind of a licensed developer on Steam. And the process of that was weird because you fill out a few forms and you pay your money, and then it just says you haven't paid for like a couple of hours, and eventually then it went, oh no, you have paid, we'll let you in. So that was reassuringly great.
Just doesn't work.
And then do you remember when I said tax would come back to bite us in the arse? The tax has come back to bite us in the arse. So you have to fill out a tax interview with Steam for them to determine whether you need to pay any, basically. And you do that. It's confusing. and then it sits there and says your identity verification is pending, and that takes quite a while. Now in the interim while mine was pending, I realised that in the UK, as part of this tax loophole stuff, I needed to fill out what is called a W8BENE form, which basically says to Steam or to America, please don't make me pay tax because I'm already paying tax. So I watched this video that showed me how to fill that out, and then when my tax verification thing was approved on Steam, I had to redo it because I'd filled it out wrong, and I redid it anticipating that I was going to then upload my W8BENE form, and there was one baked into the thing because I ticked the box correctly this time, and it kind of automatically filled it out for me. So I'd done that form twice. By the way, if you are in the UK and you ever get really confused, the TIN number in this form is just your tax UTR number. So pro tip for you there. This video is sponsored by My Game. My Game is a brilliant new daily supplement that will change your life forever. So look, I've spent like 4 years making this game, and it's been really fun, but I don't want it to be for nothing at the same time. So if you, even if you're new here, or if you have been subscribed to the channel for ages, it would really mean a lot if you could wishlist the game. Like, I don't even need you to buy it. I don't want you to like this video or subscribe to the channel. Like, just wishlist the game. If you've got like a couple of minutes to spare, click the link, push the wishlist button. That's it. You know, this channel's got like an amazing amount of subscribers now that I never thought I'd get to, but only like 1/10 of those people I think have wishlisted it. So I guess this is an appeal to you if you haven't, but you like these videos or whatever. I don't know, just it really would mean a lot to me if you could wishlist it, to help me get over that kind of Steam threshold, which I think is about 7,000 wishlists, after which they promote the game slightly harder. Wishlist it, don't buy it. It doesn't really matter. Just if you could wishlist it, that would be great. That's my sponsor message, I guess. So when you jump through all of those hoops, Steam will go away and think about what you've been up to for a few days, and then come back and say you are a verified real human being making a game. And then you'll be presented with this screen. Now, I am not a UX designer, but I would think if you're making a platform whose primary job is to help developers upload, you know, a store page, I would make that button quite prominent on the initial screen. However, for some reason, it is on the right hand side of the screen, halfway down. So don't panic if you don't see a big button that says make your page here. Also, it says you have 1 credit to make an app, which, if you're slightly uninitiated in this whole thing, is just needlessly confusing. Like, what credit? What are you talking about? Anyway, you go through, you click it, and you start making your app, which is code for Steam page. Now, again, there are tutorials for this, but it's fairly self-explanatory. Each page is kind of tabbed area where you put your description, your system requirements, your assets, blah 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 blah. And for assets and key art, all those things you would have made, there's a section for each, and you upload them. What I will say is, if you have a trailer, you might want to compress it, because I initially tried to upload a really high-res version that was like many hundreds of megabytes, and that crashed the entire Steam. So don't do that. Make it small. For system requirements, I'm making a point and click game, so I just went and found another point and click game and copied theirs, because I figured it's just a 2D thing. There's nothing major going on. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, everything else is fairly simple. I wanted to embed GIFs in the body copy of the listing, which you can do. My advice there again is you have to compress them super duper small, because it just wasn't working for me otherwise, and they have to be a certain width, which I will flash up here, otherwise they just won't work. But everything else, yeah, you fill out your boxes, and you can preview what it will all look like in sort of a beta version of the page, which is nice. But ultimately, you just want to work through the little checklist that Steam provides, fill out all the information you can, and then it will say, do you want to submit that to Steam? You say yes, and they go away for a few days and look at it and make sure you haven't just put some mad nonsense into the system. For me, I think it took about 3 or 4 days. I've heard it can take up to 2 weeks, but you know, your mileage may vary. And then when it comes back, they present you with this green button that says, do you want to make the thing go now? And you say, well, yeah, I want to make the thing go now. And then it says, are you sure you want to make the thing go now? And you say yes. And then your Steam page will be live. And so the purpose of all of this is to get wish lists, because if you get loads of wish lists, Steam promotes your game, but also the people who've wish listed it get an email when your game is released. So wish lists are good and you want them. So to that end, while Steam was trying to approve the stuff that I'd shoved into it, I started writing a list of kind of promotional tweets and posts and stuff for this channel's Discord, for Twitter, for Reddit, for YouTube, and sort of try to get all my ducks in a row so that when the game was live on Steam, I could point everybody to it and go, please go and wishlist this now. And so I did that, and the posts were kind of well received, the trailer was well received, I think anyway, and day one of the game being live, it had about 500 wishlists, which is absolutely brilliant. It was actually like 300. I don't know why I said that. Now, it's about 2 months down the line since then, and whilst it has had a couple of little spikes due to marketing activity, like I released a little YouTube short that got about 50 wish lists and a couple of tweets that have done well, I'm finding marketing quite boring. So the amount of wish lists I've got on a daily basis has dropped to about 1.
Just one.
So the game is kind of nearing 1,000 wish lists, which I think is good, alright, especially for this kind of game. But the daily wish lists are trailing off for sure. So yeah, overall, a complicated process. I'm an idiot and I managed it, so it's not that bad, but there are certainly things I would change if I was in charge of Steam. Like, just this. Like every day I look at my wish list kind of tally. It refreshes at 11 AM British time, by the way. I don't know why, but it does. It's very good that it only does it once a day, otherwise I'd just be refreshing it all the time. But just this page is really badly designed, I think. I mean, I get it, I get why these buttons exist, but surely there's a nicer way to design this in 2024. But it is what it is, and yeah, it's there. So I've set the release date for the game for like early 2025. I am working towards that, but I've left it intentionally vague so that I can fail. And in the meantime, what I've been doing is just going through a bunch of supplementary animations for the game. Like, you can play it from start to finish now. I'm sort of in the polish phase. Next will be voice acting, but right now I'm just making like a bunch of animations, like little cutaways that kind of add flavour and add a bit of zing to things. Or it has bugged me in testing so far when if you do an inventory combination, nothing happens and then the character just says, yeah, that worked, whereas I'm trying to make these little cutaway animations to show you mixing those things or to show something happening. So yeah, doing that for the next month or so. I have this sort of roadmap listed out of next steps for after that, like more polished voice acting, bug testing, fixing various logic based things that I've said I'd come back to, and then hopefully, yeah, sort of maybe February, maybe March, maybe April next year, we'll get this show on the road. Yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching. Another video there. Have a nice life.